Okay, so in this video I'm going to be covering the short game basics. Now for me, the short game starts roughly about 40 metres. It's not sort of a be all and end all, but the reason for that being is I know from that distance I can really attack the pin and get close. Now when it comes to my short game, I don't actually change my swing. The only thing I change once I get to about 40 metres is, so if I just take my normal setup, right, now what I do is I press my hands forward, and there's a reason for that. So I'll show you, when I haven't got my hands forward, my arc of my swing is a lot wider. Now you'll see when I bring my hands forward, my arc becomes less. And what that does is it's not decreasing my club head speed, but it is compared to, if I don't press my hands forward, I'm going to go there, press my hands forward, I'm going to come here. And what it allows me to do is be aggressive with control. Now a lot of people always talk about this hinge and hold, you know, like that, but it's got nothing to do with that. It just comes down to physics. Now, so basically, I'm going to set up, and the shot for me, I'm just going to press my hands forward, and that's pretty much my action. Now, I don't actually change my swing for any shots that I play. I always use the same swing. The only difference is, for different shots, I'll alter my setup. Now, starting off with the short game, we're going to start with chipping and pitching. Now, there's actually no difference between how I'm swinging the club. It's just the difference between pitching and chipping is a chip shot will fly less in the air and run more to the hole, where a pitch shot will fly more to the air and run less to the hole. So there's really no difference between the shots. So, I mean, when I'm talking just a basic chipping or pitching, so I'm just going to be there, I push my hands forward, and that's it. Now, that's pretty much it for chipping. I use that same action from whether I'm 40 metres in or 2 metres off the green. It makes no difference. It's just I'll do different things like using my hands, which I'll go into later on how I use my hands to manipulate the ball flight. So that's pretty much just the basic for chipping and pitching. The next shot I'll go into is the flop shot. Now same again, my swing's not changing, but the thing with the flop shot is you can get quite creative with getting that ball to pop up and sit down. So obviously with the flop shot we're going to open up the face, and we're going to take more of a wider stance to change our lower our centre of gravity. The same again. That's pretty much a flop shot for me. But there's more we can do in terms of popping the ball up. So I'll come side on. So that's pretty much your standard flop shot. So, if I want to add even more height, like I open the club face, take my wider stance, but then I'm just going to sit down a bit more, and now that's lowered my centre of gravity. Hands forward, and there. Now that's going to pop the ball up really quick. Now, going even further, I can still get that ball up higher. So same again, I'm going to take my setup, and so we've got the wider feet. We're going to sit down a touch, but now I'm just going to tilt my spine just a touch, same swing. And you can see now I'm getting under, so that ball would just go up, down. Now that's pretty much it when it comes to a flop shot. And it's a matter of being creative, and when you're out practicing, go around and hit, don't always hit the same shot from the same spot. Vary your shots and work around and try and play your shots as if you're playing out in the course. Now the next shot is not really a shot, so we're moving into bunkers, which very similar to playing a flop shot, but there are some things you can do for control. Now, I'm going to first talk about the way I see bunkers is, so you're hitting out of sand, so the club, it never actually hits the ball. And the reason for that is it's actually the sand that's actually moving the ball. Now, the first thing we got to look at is what type of sand are we using, and generally there's three types of sand. Now you got your very fine sand, like sand you'd find on a beach, that real sandy beach. And then you've got the nice wet sand where it's sort of soft on top, but then it's firm, and that's the best sand you can play at. But then you have compacted sand, and there's three ways of playing it. Now, I've always looked at that when you're setting up to play your shot, that by lowering your feet, now that's what gets the ball. You know, they always say, you know, you've got an area around your ball and you want to hit that, but I don't see it that way. I see by, you know, if I'm normally hitting a shot, right, I'm hitting through just on the grass, but if I just wiggle my feet in, so if with the soft sand, I'll probably just about half an inch. The soft wet sand, probably about an inch. And then with the compacted sand, I'll probably go down an inch. The only difference will be is I will put firm pressure in my right hand so I can really hit down, and I'll just give you an idea of that shot. So, you know, so again, club up, but I've got a lot of pressure in my right hand, so, you know, I'm really going to hit down into it because, you know, it might be soft on top, but it's very compacted. Now, there's another thing, distance control, that I've found is, obviously, when I widen my stance, the ball's going to go up and down and travel a shorter distance. Now, you know, and I've got my club face open at a certain degree. Now, I can keep my club face open, and if I bring my stance in like that, and you know, playing to a say a longer target, because I've got a narrower stance, I'm going to swing wider. But if I go wider, I'm going to pick that, the club's going to come up more. So I can actually control. So for me, that would be a short shot. That'd be about medium. And, you know, I've got the club face quite wide open, and just push those hands forward, and same again. And that there, I can play a longer shot. I don't have to really switch out clubs, but the main thing is getting into a bunker is, you know, hitting the different targets. But the whole thing with the short game is getting creative, is hitting different shots from different areas. You know, don't just sit there with your balls. And I see it all the time when I watch people practice a short game. I used to see it all the time when I used to do a lot of practicing. Guys would come out and they would hit probably 3 different shots, and you know, and then they'd look at me and they'd be, you know, why are you taking so long with your shot, and rah rah rah. And I said, well, what I'm actually trying to do is I'm trying to think of different ways of hitting shots and being creative. And you know, it might look like I'm taking my time, but I'm not. I'm actually thinking about what I'm doing. I'm trying to actually hit specific shots. So my advice, practicing your short game, is just practice as many different shots as you can. And like I said, just through adjustments with your setup, you can make the ball, you know, sort of pop up, sit down. You can make it go further just by changing your stance. I mean, if I've got my club face, let's say half open, you know, and I'm hitting a pitch shot, and you know, that's going to travel a further distance than if I now bring my stance to here. I'm hitting that, club face is still so, but it's going to go shorter because it's going to pop up and sit down. So that there pretty much covers the short game, and like I said, experiment. Get out on the short game green and just hit shots from all over the place, and really challenge yourself to be creative with what you're doing.